Welcome to the Community Newspaper Facebook Watch Party, Excellence in Education. I am Marta Perez, and our mission is to expose and inspire excellence in education. And before I introduce my extremely important guest who has done so much for education, and in specific, military education and history education in our community, please note that we are using all the safety precautions necessary here at Community Newspaper. We wear face masks when we walk in. We use hand sanitizers. Our temperatures are checked. We have this great plexiglass shield between speakers. And we practice every single thing that is recognized as helpful in avoiding the pandemic. Also, please follow us on Facebook and send us questions via chat. We have a chat room. And now to the best part of this program. Please allow me to introduce this luminary that lives among us. He lives in Miami-Dade County. He is Mr. Anthony Atwood. Dr. Anthony Atwood is the executive director of the Miami Military Museum and Memorial. And we will talk more about this museum in Miami that is so exciting. But he has had a distinguished career in the military, has a PhD in history, so many accomplishments, so many published pieces, just a wealth of knowledge about history, particularly the military history of the United States. So without further delay, so that we could get right into the questions and hear from this very erudite guest of ours and a great patriot, Dr. Anthony Atwood. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, ma'am. It's an honor to be here. I couldn't top your introduction. I could only say I'm an overnight sensation, and it only took 20 years.
Oh, my goodness.
But it's an honor to be here and a privilege.
Thank you very much for kindly agreeing to be here. And we have so much to talk about. I hope that we're able to fit it all into one program. First, I'd like to ask you about Dr. Atwood, the man. Tell us where you were born, how you were, are you a U.S., are you a Miami resident? Were you born here? Tell us a little bit about your background, please.
Sure. I was born in a little house in Westchester. And I went to public schools. I went to Olympia Heights Elementary. I went to Rockaway Middle School. I went to Southwest High School. And afterwards, I then joined the Navy. And
how old were you when you joined the Navy?
Oh, well, I was like 28. I couldn't get a job.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I mean, it was a challenging time, and well, I joined the Navy in 1981.
Was that a difficult decision for you?
Well, actually, I have had ancestors in the military. My brother was in the military. My father was in the military. So it was not really a hard decision.
And you were 28, so you were a young adult. How difficult was going from regular, civilian life to becoming a part of the military?
Well, actually, 3 squares a day, and it was, for me, a welcome relief from the classifieds and all of that.
Oh,
so
okay.
They did me good. I worked for the county for a bit. I was a person with the blue dash. That was a system on Dixie Highway where you put cones in the road for an experimental traffic reduction program.
From there to a PhD, what a distinguished career!
It's
wonderful. And to what do you attribute this change from being a young county employee, putting down those blue things on the street to this extraordinary career that you were able to create for yourself.
Well, I don't know how extraordinary it is. It's
I think it's very impressive.
the I guess if there is any secret to success, it would be, well, of course, providence. Um, and I like to clean. You think that's it? It's humorous, but it's true. And I've made
So they say
a career out
cleanliness.
of doing the things that others didn't like to do.
Cleanliness is next to godliness, right?
It sure is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you can't get the one, at least get the other. Like on a ship, I would shine the bright work.
Uh-huh.
That's the brass, on the
Uh-huh.
bridge with a can of Brasso.
Uh-huh.
And everybody would, ha, 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 he's doing it. But the captain liked it.
Ah.
So, come forward, and one thing led to another. People did not want to give, the crew they weren't interested in giving tours of the ship. Okay, the ship pulls in, you get liberty. I don't want to give tour. I want to go out and party. I liked giving tours
Uh-huh.
to students, kids, didn't matter who.
Eh.
So, and also, I guess, well, you get to a foreign port, Japan one time, and everybody's going, we're going to go to Disney World. We're going to, live it up. And they said, where are you going, Atwood? And I said, well, I'm going to go climb Mount Fuji. And they said, what? What is that? So that a love of history, a love of restoration, a love of our heritage, and after a rewarding Navy career, and in fact, a lot of my naval career was in the reserves.
Uh-huh.
So I spent time here in Miami, and what I did when I wasn't on military activities was I went to graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that where you do you think giving those tours on the ships and studying, is that where you developed your love of education, and that is what started to guide your career into becoming a professor?
I'm sure, absolutely certain of that.
And what is this program is called Excellence in Education, and it's all about excellence and what it takes to teach children, etc. What do you think was there in it for you to be better educated and then to pass on that education? What was the motivation or the inspiration for you?
Well, okay, well, it's don't laugh, but I would say love. Another professor at the university once gave me a thing. It says, if you dot da 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 da, if you these things, you're a teacher.
Uh-huh.
That resonated with me. And in graduate school, the first thing I did was got myself certified to teach.
Uh-huh.
I don't mean as a TA. A TA is a teaching assistant. You go for coffee, you make photocopies, and that's good. I, on the other hand, I have to turn it the other way because I'm looking. I was instructor of record.
Okay.
I sought that out. First to become certified, you have to go through programs and keep a logbook and review movies. I reviewed. There was one with
You were a movie reviewer. To review for what?
Movies about education.
Oh.
Yeah, there was one with. I think he was Frank Olmos, Stand and Deliver.
Uh-huh.
Then there was another one about, well, anyway, you have to do reports. You have to do a variety of things, and training. And so I became instructor of record.
So Dr. Atwood, in education, because I'm on the education board of education, there's a lot of emphasis on STEM programs, which there's a lot of emphasis on math. I'm a big proponent of math language. I think that's very important too. But history
Yeah,
doesn't seem to have the prominence, and that's your specialty. So no one seems to be talking about history education. What is your take on that? And tell me what you think about the importance of history education and why.
okay, that's a big subject, and it's an important subject, and it's one close to my heart. Um, if we don't learn the lessons of history, then we are doomed. We're doomed to just continually walking through the same door. We're doomed to repeat them.
So,
So,
what are the history lessons that I know there's a lot, but that you think that when we have students from kindergarten to 12, we have them with us for 12 years, what should good citizens that we're trying to create, what history lessons should they learn and remember?
okay, freedom is not free, and the crown is not forever.
Mm-hmm.
Each generation has to step up to the plate. Um, I would say that there are subsets of history. One would be geography, and another is civics. It's a sad fact, but I've asked students at times, "Who's your state representative?" And
They didn't know.
nobody knows. Who's
But
your
what age group are you?
Well, I'm talking college, in
College,
fact. Yeah, and
but when you were young or around the age of the students that you asked, did you know who your state representatives were?
it, frankly, no. That's
It's
that's a
part
good.
of the
Okay, but
it's part of the
yeah,
progression of age and the importance
okay, you're right.
of our civic responsibilities. I think that does not excuse us, because there are some that do know and are very engaged, but
Yeah,
our students are not. I think young people, they have so many other problems and things on their mind to worry about. It's the becoming of age and all of those other
sure.
things that, who is my state representative is not in the top 10 most important things in their lives. But we do have the responsibility, as you say, to show to give the flavor of a civil of civility and of a civil society to students, and we have to do that as teachers, I think, by by making history come alive. And you've taught a lot of history to a lot of people, because your resume has how
That's
many classes have you taught on history, different eras of
oh,
history?
sure. I'll
And
I'll
how
talk
have
until
you
you
tried
say shut up.
to bring no and how have you tried to bring that alive to your students?
Okay, well, there is a pageant. History is not a science. The practitioners who think it is are actually it's not a science. It is an art, because in any given situation, you're going to have more than one answer. You're going to have, why did Napoleon lose at Waterloo, with ramifications for the whole world? Well, he lost because there was a Flemish peasant that he captured, and the peasant lied to him and told him on the other side of the hill it was good country, whereas on the other side was a ditch.
Really?
You could say that's one reason. You could say another reason was it rained. It rained, so the ground was soggy. You could say another reason was that Napoleon had gastric problems and he was sick that day.
Oh,
You could give, and that's just part of it. You could
wow.
you could go on and say, well, Napoleon lost because the Prussian commander, who marched and arrived at the nick of time with reinforcements, 3 times his aides said, "Well, can you give the men a rest? Can you let them?" And each time he said, "No, continue the march." And they got there just in the nick of time because Napoleon almost won. So things of that nature, and bringing it back to the United States and our own heritage, uh, we almost just we almost lost World War II. It was a very close thing, and that's a
And what saved us?
what's that?
What saved us in your because it seems like you have so much more details and perspective. What do you think saved us in that regard? In that,
Okay, well, I think a couple things saved us, and I could give you Eisenhower's mechanical reasons, various tools, but I think the spirit of the Allies and the spirit of the Americans was really what saved us. World War II was the last total war conflict that's in living memory, and only to a handful these days. But there was an ethic of service, and the country was not saved by all gung ho volunteers. That's a common perception, but it's not the truth. The truth is that of the 15.5 million young Americans who rallied to the colors, 2 out of 3 were drafted. What that means is they were not gung ho, but when their number came up, they reported to the colors. So, and that's an ethos of service. And today, you could look at it. Who are the people who are really carrying the load? Doctors, nurses,
yes,
medical.
the comparison to the pandemic.
Of course.
As a matter of fact, with our teaching force during this pandemic, I often compare them to soldiers, and
They are.
they are.
Yeah.
And couple of meetings ago, I said to the superintendent, our soldiers are born. They've endured. Our teachers have endured so much. They are so tired. I think it was wonderful that we celebrated Thanksgiving, and that the holidays are coming to give our teachers a little respite, because those soldiers have been put upon very strenuous situations, and they're tired, and they're worn.
Yeah.
So,
And at the military museum, I've got one perspective from the higher education thing, but right next to me in the next cubicle is a gentleman named Tom Gammon,
oh
who
yes,
was retired from the K through 12,
Mhm.
and he has a world of understanding about
Yes,
that. And
yes.
so, and he was also, like myself, he's a retired officer. He was in the Air Force. And so,
So you just mentioned the Miami Military Museum, and it is a relatively new
oh, it's
museum.
brand new.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
And it's located at the entrance of Miami Metro Zoo, for those who would like to know. Currently, it's open Thursday through
Friday and Saturday.
Thursday from
10 to 4.
10 to 4. And if you have time to go out there, and we're going to hear more about that, it's a great museum to teach much of military history, particularly down here in Miami-Dade.
Oh yeah,
But tell us how you came to create this museum. What is all this about? How did the idea come up, and how did you eventually become the CEO?
okay. was used by the military
Oh,
for
sure.
50 years.
Uh-huh.
From 1942, and then it was CIA headquarters against Castro. Then it was an Army Reserve Center, and lastly, a Marine Corps Reserve Center. But when the Marines moved out, it was declared in excess of inventory.
Oh.
That's federal words for it's condemned, because Hurricane Andrew had hit. There was so it was demolition
so a
by
friend
neglect.
of yours tells you, wouldn't that make a good museum, right? And then what happened?
Well, then the long slog to.
Then you decided, yeah, it would be a good idea.
Yeah, and I also thought it would be easy, quick. I mean,
all I have to do is call up.
Yeah. Okay, so
so who did you call?
Well, actually, I would call anyone that would answer the phone.
Well, like who? Who answered the phone?
Okay. Well, a lot of times people did not, but over the years, Commissioner Jose Pepe Diaz.
He answered the phone.
He answered the phone.
Diaz.
Yes, he did.
And you said to him, I have this grand plan.
Yeah, and
but at that time you only had the building, and you wanted to open it wherever it was.
Yeah, and
how did that idea about moving the building, how did that happen?
Well, we had to move it.
Why?
Because it was over near the prison. There's the Richmond site was 2,000 acres, a big area, and over the half a century, it got subdivided into smaller. Larry and Penny Thompson Campground is part of it.
Okay.
There's an Army Reserve Center.
So the building would not have enough parking. What was the problem with having it there?
It was on the grounds of a federal correctional institute.
Oh, okay. And so
you can't. There's some issues with having a museum.
Most people would say, well, you can't. We can't open it. They give up.
Yeah, to heck
what
with it.
Gave you that idea? Well, we got to move it.
Arva Parks.
Arva Parks. How did he get into this?
How she got into it was, I would annoy anyone who would listen.
And she listened to
Arva. Yeah, Arva came out to the building, and it was a wreck. It was, and she said, well, why don't you move it?
And yes, and then how did you come up with a place near the
Okay, well, on the other side of the Federal Correction Institute is the zoo.
Okay.
And the train museum.
Yes.
And between the two, there was no rivers, no turnpikes, no subdivisions. There were just some power lines that needed to go down. Other than that, it was theoretically possible.
And then in order to get that permit and the funding, because how much does it cost to move a building?
It's the largest structure moved in one piece in Florida. That in itself is
it's enormous. I know. I was what do they put it on?
It was put on wheels. It was jacked up. Moving a building is a science in and of itself. They can move lighthouses
in one day.
No.
How long did it take?
It took 6 weeks.
No, but the actual, once everything is ready, to transport it from one place to the other.
Okay, it transported a stage at a time, and then there were power lines, and we had to wait for the exact time when the zoo.
You mean what did they break the building into pieces?
No, one piece. But the power lines had to come down. And so we had to wait till when the zoo was having, which was at 2 a.m. on a Sunday, to move it past one power line, and then it would go a little further, and then past the other power line.
Oh, wow!
And it had to go. Went extremely slowly for a couple reasons. One is they don't go fast, and number two is there's no reverse. Meaning, if you get it wrong, you're stuck with it. So um, well, anyway, we moved it, and it's
Mhm.
and then little by little, another person who answered the phone was Luby Navarro.
One of my colleagues there,
Yeah,
board members. Yes.
Luby answered the phone, and she said, "Now this is." First of all, I went through many people who would go, he's nuts. That's just mad, Mr. Atwood. But then when I got the doctorate, it was mad Dr. Atwood. So she listened, and she said, "Yeah, it would be a good thing." Parks and recreation people, planners, senior planners,
Yes.
uh, the architect. There was of course, it's business is business, but he's a.
How much did the entire process cost?
Okay, it's a $9 million project.
Ooh.
$9 million, though, compared to
Oh,
the
of course.
140 million that they're putting into the art
Of
museum.
course, or if they were going to construct from scratch.
Yeah.
So who? So how
How?
was most of the funding created?
Okay, in little increments by federal, state, and local
Grants.
grants.
Mhm.
And that's what we're working off right now.
Right
Now,
now.
principal construction is done. But it's been a process of you've got to enlist your legislators. They've got to care about it, and if they don't, they don't. And sometimes, even with all their caring, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We've been vetoed. You'd think, who would have thought you veto having a military heritage?
Well,
Well,
if
but
there's no money, there's no money.
politics is
Money and
politics.
politics, exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. Atwood, we are almost out of time,
Oh, I'm sure.
which is terrible, but we're not completely out of time. Oh, yes. And so I'd like to now concentrate on some of the things that you specifically want to share with our audience. So, what are some of the things that are very important for you to share so that people know about this and becomes a passion in their lives too?
Okay. The ROTC, the junior
Yes.
ROTC, they're at 28 high schools. We have, as I mentioned, Mr. Gammon's a retired officer. He knows a lot about that,
Yes.
and we want to engage with them on a big level.
Right. And the ROTC is the reserves. At the junior ROTCs are, as you have said, in 8 of our high schools. And it's a program that helps students that have some interest in a military career, and it helps in many other ways. They meet, etc.
Sure.
And you are involved in that program, yes, too.
Also, the 5,000 role models.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. What is happening with you and them? And is this part of the museum, or is this a separate thing that you're?
No, it's an initiative.
It's an initiative of the museum,
the museum,
okay,
and
or
one
of
of our people,
or the
Larry
JRTCs.
Floyd,
Yes,
is another retired officer.
Yes.
At the building. He's our public affairs officer. He is also a retired teacher, and he was big with the 5,000 role models program with the Congresswoman, and we hope to have connectivity.
And I know you're going to have competitions and doing all kinds of things to
a history bee.
A history bee. That's
Why
fabulous.
not?
What a great thing. But I think all of those things to bring into prominence the importance of history and the importance of history education in our K-12. Although you are a professor of higher education, but it's very important to plant those seeds in our students, because
and to keep the seeds going, because we also essay to reach to connect with the Jack Gordon Institute at FIU, which is the national security program. And if young people, and I want to call them kids because they're young adults, they need to know geography, because if you don't know what, and
how many students know where Afghanistan is?
Not as many as should
And how
know.
many students, yeah, they've heard of the world wars, but even for us, of course, Vietnam, we lived it, but for many of our children, they have no idea, and not even the current wars.
There's been students who haven't had they never heard of 9/11.
9/11, I know. I know. Can you imagine? So there's so much more now. We're running out of time, as I said. Any more? Go ahead. Anything else that you want to? I have one last question for you.
Okay. You have the floor.
All right. Do you believe in history that past actions are predictors of future behaviors? In other words, and as a PhD, you know that in research we always say, if you want to predict the future, what has happened in the past? Is that a good guideline for history?
Well, actually, this is not the first pandemic. We had a pandemic 100 years ago. And I was looking through my files. I clipped things out of the newspaper, and there was an article 5 years ago about the pandemic of 1918, and it said that the headline was along the lines of, "Are we ready for another one?" And the answer was
no.
We weren't. No. So that's just a concrete example of we need to learn from the past in order to have a place ahead of us.
So in closing, what would you like to leave the audience with? What would you like them, as far as the museum? What parting words do you have for us?
Okay, well, Miami is a variegated community. Some would say balkanized. We have this group, we have that group. It's one of the most diverse places on earth. The military museum essays to bring together the various groups, because the building was used itself was used to fight the Nazis, but it was also used by the gallant Cuban freedom fighters in alliance with the CIA, and we can be a bridge, is what we essay to be.
Thank you. Very, very good aspirations, and all the best. Please come back and visit us again when you have more news about your. You have this brand new museum. I think we should all. The whole community is very proud of that. I think it's the newest museum in Miami-Dade.
Well, we want to become the best little military museum in Florida.
And we will hope to support you and hope that that dream comes true. Thank you very much.
Aye, ma'am.
And thank you very much to all of you for tuning in to our Facebook watch party, Excellence in Education. And thank you very much. Goodbye.